So I just wanted to do this real quick. I am having so many weird things today. So many like synchronicity kind of things or something. I don't know. It's just tripping me out. Like the more this reality is so disjointed. I mean seriously, it's weird. And like it just keeps getting weirder and weirder and weirder. Like, I swear, I feel like I could just I don't even know. I feel like I could just go out of here or something. I don't know how to explain it. It's like this whole other level I'm seeing, and I don't know how to explain it. But it keeps kind of, transforming. But it is definitely now I feel well, I don't know about, I mean, definitely when I said about the windshield thing, right? And so when I was trying to figure out, like, okay, was I not listening? Were they telling me? Was they just letting me know? Because I didn't really feel a huge pressure that they were putting on me, like, get out there. But I know that they're constantly giving me these lessons over me paying attention to what they're telling me. And it's so subtle. It's so crazy how the most subtle things are becoming more and more obvious to me. Like the communication with them becomes so much more. And the more it is, the more everything becomes bigger, or man, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe because it's all perspective and perception. It's the way everything just continues to open up, like and you begin to kind of really see yourself as this character, like in a game or something. Like, I don't know how to explain it. And you're listening to your commands, and the better you listen, the more you're like, it's trippy. Like, it's so trippy. And but when I had said that about the windshield and saying, about going to a place and being in a place a certain time just to pass somebody, and I, didn't even think about that, while I was going or something. The whole time I was driving, I was like kind of panicking. At first, when I left, like, there's this huge hole in my windshield right here, and all around it is shattered. And so it keeps blowing this glass dust in. But I did wear my sunglasses this time. But it's blowing it in, and so this... and I tried to cover it all with stuff, but I kept blowing off. So I did the best I could, but once it had blown and stuff, then it started this loud whistling. And it was so nerve-wracking. I was like, oh my God, this thing is going to blow in on my face. And so I'm just like, this is like, okay, quit thinking about it. And so I turned on the radio and trying to find something, and it's just right away with the propaganda. Like, there's more commercials than needs to be. They're always trying to force something down our fucking throat. And so while I was going, and I was so focused on that, I was really, just really focused on that. I wasn't thinking about like whose path I was going to cross or anything. And so when I got there, as I was pulling in, because I was lost for a minute, because there's two gas stations and they're like a block down from each other, and I went to the wrong one. I was driving around there. I got so frustrated. My phone wouldn't work. And so I was like held up, and it was like past my appointment. I was like, oh my God. And and I was just frustrated. And then but then I found out, it was across the street, down a bit. So I got over there. And everything is like timing. It's weird. And so then as I'm pulling up, a whole bunch of people are out on the sidewalk, all standing out. And then there's the gas station is right here. And there's these two guys, and this guy's just beating this guy. And I think somebody had yelled at him to stop, because I heard someone yell stop, And then I saw, oh, this guy's getting beat up. Is that what's going on? And like you're trying to see, but one guy's on the ground, and the other guy, he's really big. And after he's got the guy on the ground, doesn't want to keep bending over, and he just takes the guy's backpack, starts beating the backpack. Oh, I just did something on my, so he starts beating the backpack and kicking it, and just like, oh my God, it was like violent, dude. And I can't stand that kind of stuff. And so I was kind of locked in though, like I'm at my appointment. And so then I parked and started to walk over there to the car place to tell them I was here. And they told me to pull around. And that's when I could see better what was going on with the one guy being on the ground. And so I pulled up, and he told me whatever with my car. I finished that. And then I walked over to the guy. And at this point, he had started getting up. And when he got up, and I said, "Are you okay?" And he's got blood all dripping down his face and stuff. And I was, you could see he had a big gouge right here. And I said, it's got a big cut. I can't see it through all the blood and stuff. And, I learned from nursing and said, like, you don't go up to a homeless person and start touching their blood, because a lot of times it's contaminated with stuff that, they may be able to live with, but will kill us, I swear. And so anyways, I didn't want to go up and start touching him, like, so I was just like, I think you should go to the hospital, and you probably need to get a staple or something and get it cleaned out. And he said, yeah, the guy took a rock and smashed it into his head. And so I'm just over there talking to him, and and I called 911 for him because he was homeless. He didn't have a way to get to the hospital. And so I called, and they had a whole bunch of people who were calling, and they were all calling to report this fight. And apparently this fight had been going on for hours. This guy kept going and beating the snot out of this guy. So I don't know, it was some drugged out thing, some lovers spat. They develop all sorts of strange relationships on the streets, And then I've seen so many homeless battles, man. They get so violent with each other. And it's so mean. And when it's all somebody has is just that one bag, and they'll take it and just start throwing their shit out all over it's so mean. And so I talked to the guy, I'm standing there talking to him, and I was just like, that is wrong. You're not supposed to touch people. Like, from the time our kids are little, we tell them, don't touch somebody, assault people. And so this big old guy, and this other guy is smaller, and he's just beating the snot out of him and using rocks and shit. And I don't even know why the one guy kept staying around him, but whatever it was, that is exactly, because I kept talking to him, and then he didn't have anybody. And, there wasn't much I could do or say. I did say a couple times, you just got to, to make it in this world, you just got to, it's all on you. That's for sure. Because the ambulance and the fire truck, all that took forever. I couldn't even believe it. And, even when I told him to go to the hospital, because I would never tell anybody to go to the hospital. It's like, ugh, no. But especially someone homeless or whatever, he could have probably walked around and found an urgent care somewhere, and then probably they would have just sent him to the hospital. And besides, it was safer with that. It really needed to be cleaned out really good. And man, I've just seen some head wounds. This one was so sickening. I know I've talked about it before, but it was traumatizing. And this woman was walking down her stairs, and then she had fallen on the back of her head. And I don't remember if her stairs had carpet or wood, but whatever it was, she fell on the back of her head. And then she went to Deaconess, or one of the hospitals in town, and not the one that gave me my injury, but I'd worked at both those ERs. But so she went there first, and the other one had the better reputation, but all hospitals suck ass. So she then when she came into our ER, because we actually the one she came into for this recheck thing was the one out of town, and so kind of in the suburbs of the city. The other ones are downtown. And so she was out there. And then we had to send her back to the hospital because her infection had gone so deep inside that it was like into the bone. Oh, it was so disgusting. I couldn't believe it. When they told me to go in and wash it off, her scalp, all of her head was coming off. Oh my God. I just went and got the doctor. So anyways, it's just, there's certain things, and you can get a bleed. He could have had a fracture. He could have had a bone fracture that could, puncture into his brain, and then he's bleeding in there. Like, there's so much bad stuff that can happen. You should get it, x-rayed or scanned or something. Especially if you're homeless and you're going to be out there cold tonight, you don't have any place to lay and rest. Like, he probably needs to be admitted and have a bed for a while to recoup. And I'm sure he felt like really out of it, but it was just weird because all the people were just standing over there and nobody was asking him, and it had been going on for a while. And, that's just how, people all called 911, but see, just, I don't know, like a stigma against homeless, a stigma against fighting people, a stigma against men. People have so many biases that they forget that everybody's human. And so, I don't know. I just thought that's weird because it was like I crossed his path just so he had a little bit of humanity there for a minute. And because sometimes people need to have it to know they deserve it. When people are cut off from some things, then they don't even realize what they deserve. And, but while I've been doing stuff, because I went and got my windshield, and I feel so much better. And the guy did the dents on the top of the car too with some suction cup thing. And so now the top of the car, I just got to get some kind of paint. And then there's just a tiny dent and then these scratches, but I'll get the paint so it doesn't rust. So funny too. Most of the cars are like plastic. But whatever is in there that will rust, it will fucking, I gotta seal it somehow, caulk it, just caulk it. Probably good, no telling. But I'm really on one about this, flat, because I don't even think they'd have to be flash frozen. Like, I swear to God, if I had a family member over there who had been frozen, even if it was just frozen in their house and it wasn't like flash frozen like the ones on the street or whatever, if it was slowly frozen, which that may even be better, but I would want them medically resuscitated. Like, I would want them to be medical thaw, where they have there's a whole thing how they can, they can even go so far as to warm your blood as it's going. Like, there's all sorts of things. Like, you put warmers under their arms, or like there's different places and stuff to start getting things warmed. And I think you get things to start flowing again, and then you start kind of warming their blood too. And because you warm their body, and then I'm not sure how it all goes. But we've definitely had people come in who were frozen. I don't remember if they had any resuscitation or what. And that was years and years ago when I was working in the ER. And there was a whole thing about like how you have to warm them up or whatever. So I know that there is a way, a process. And I swear to God, I do not understand how they could even... how they could find a coroner who would take a frozen body and then just call it dead. Like, they will have to, this is so corrupt, man. So corrupt. Because they have to let them thaw out, and then, man, I don't know. I don't know. Because I think even if you thawed a person out, there has to be a stimuli to jolt them back awake, you know, because it is like they go into like a dormant state. And so, like, I don't know. To me, it is so corrupt too. Are they just going in and taking these people, especially if it's a lot of homeless people and they think, nobody's going to claim them anyways. So straight to labs, and then are they resuscitating them, medical resuscitation, and then, checking them to see whether they mind swiping them so they don't even know, anything. And this place, I swear to God, it is so fucking creepy and corrupt, I swear. And I just feel certain. I know for sure, if I had a frozen family member, I would want them to go through the process, thaw them out slowly. That is a medically sound way to do it. And then resuscitate them, just like you would any other person you found down. Because everything is stopped cold, then it should be fine. You should be able to resuscitate them. And you can look up studies, science stuff. And even I had said something about that in the comments in my TikTok. Then this one woman said that there was like a 12-year-old boy or something that it happened to. He went into a frozen lake, got pulled out, and then I'm pretty sure she said it was drowned, frozen, or no, maybe he just froze. I don't remember. I think he just froze. And I know I've heard of ones drowning or freezing in the lakes and being resuscitated. And so, and I don't know if that would make a difference, having the water in your lungs too, but I bet your ass that they are taking some of those frozen places to some place that somebody, one of these great minds are, studying on it or looking into it or whatever. And, but it did just seem so strange going into the city. Like, everything does seem like, man, like, just going more crazy. Like, these homeless guys just fighting right there. And then that's right across the street from, like, the mall that the person was just drugged the other day. Like, Bellingham's not big, it's not a great big city. It's between Vancouver and Seattle, but still, and it's a college town, which that would be a draw right there for, and it's super, super liberal. So, I don't know, but the weather looked so weird. It was like totally from the Never-Ending Story, how the darkness was going, and then it had like this totally blue sky over here, and then this like darkness taking over. I was like, oh my God, all this is this beautiful blue, and then here comes this black, big gray thing moving towards like, what the hell is coming? It's like the fog or something. And I know, there's more things with them. The WEF or whatever they're called, I think, that they are putting out a thing that they want all nicotine banned. Well, why would that be? Why would you give a shit? You want to reduce the population, I thought. So why do you care if these people just smoke themselves to death? Why can't you allow them to smoke themselves to death? Like, for God's sakes. Like, fuck. Right there. Yeah. The people who say that we can just all fucking die real quick are going to ban cigarettes. Like, and they're putting it on so anyone born after 08 is, you can never buy them. Like, they're gonna like weed them out of the population as people die off, they say. They, oh my Lord, my Lord, my Lord. I don't even know. I mean, this stuff is just so, it's so absurd. Like, I just feel like people just don't think about things. Like, oh man, I just bet there's so many people's family members, and they, they're all distraught and would not even think for a second to tell them to resuscitate them after they thaw them out. And whatever the city's doing, they're leaving them around, laying around like roadkill as they thaw naturally out on the road. And then, I don't even know. Like, some of this stuff is just so weird. Because then how do they even pronounce them dead? They have to we think they died a couple days ago. Like, are they going to start telling us, we just have a new space now. We just group deaths. We're just, marking them in a general idea. Well, we think they died the week of the storm. Like, what? They want to track us, but they want to cut corners. Like, fuck. And I just saw, too, where somebody was saying that New York just bought a bunch of, or I think it was New York, bought a bunch of electric snow plow. They're not only snow plows, they have other jobs too that can do. I can't remember what it is though, because I was so stuck on the snow plow, because they said the battery has a 4-hour charge. Jesus Christ. You wouldn't even be able to get a block done before, because anything that you push the battery to do, it would be over in like an hour and a half or something. My battery operated, where I have to plug in my vacuum, and then you can go out and vacuum it with no cord. It has 20 minutes of life in it. It's like, oh my God. But there was something else. I'm trying to think. What else? I know I saw something else, but whatever. Well, I have been just doing things like, I don't know. It just feels like I'm in some sort of a weird flow thing or something. And then whatever, when they're always telling me stuff, but then when they're pointing things out and telling me, it was like, oh my gosh. The more and more that I notice of when they're telling you stuff, I'm telling you, they are telling us stuff all the time. All the time. If we just were paying attention, we don't pay attention. And the more that they get me to pay attention, because it was something when I was driving, and then they told me, and then I just kind of, the gas station, when I went to the wrong gas station, as we were driving, they showed me, they reminded me the gas station across the street, a block down. And because I had known about that one, and I knew that those two looked alike, and I was trying to figure out which one he was talking about. And then I narrowed it down that I thought it was this one. But they have the same name, only one says liquor and one doesn't. So but my guides showed me that as I was driving. And so then I get out of my car and I'm all frustrated, and I had to unplug my phone. Once I got it unplugged from the car, maybe that was it. I don't know. I've had so many problems being out and my phone not working. And then people, 5G, I'm so excited. Yeah. My fucking ears are being plowed every fucking day. And my fingers can't even touch my phone. I'm like, oh my Lord. Please radiate me more. I'm not radiated enough. Just electrify my whole body. Just microwave itself to death. I saw some other creepy thing about that too. But when they had told me that, and so then I went through all that frustration. Then I got over there though. But if I would have been there a couple more minutes earlier, I would have went over to the big guy and told him to get the fuck off. But maybe, they were protecting me from that, because maybe that psycho would have just started punching me in the face. But, I don't like to see people getting beat up like that. That makes me sick. And, but when they had told me and showed me, I was like, oh, see? Like, I saw it, I knew it, I heard it, but I wasn't processing it. Like, there's another step. Like, they are constantly showing you and telling you things. And, trying to guide you and keep you in a direction. But it all is how much attention you pay. And then it is the process of it, because that is one thing that they keep showing me and showing me, that they'll tell me something or whatever, but then I don't process it through. And so anyways, and to me, it feels more of getting into that kind of that sync is, it kind of moves you out of the other one. You know what I mean? It's like letting go more of this reality, because I don't know, even when I was out in public, and talking to people, I just felt different. I felt like a hummingbird. I swear I did. I feel like I'm just going around, going over the homeless guy, going and talking to this guy. The little dog comes up and wants to hang out with me, and I'm playing with the dog, and I'm talking to this guy, and I just felt like I was like, oh, and I felt so happy. Even when the guy came out and he said, "How much did I quote you?" I said, "I think it was 365. He sat there for a while and he goes, "No, it's 420. I was like, okay. Nothing's going to bother me. And besides the fact he got those dents out of the back. And, I'm just feeling good and feeling positive and feeling happy. And I don't want to, be brought down. And it's not like, it is, it's kind of like an attitude. Like, even if something happens, you got to deal with whatever, but you can't just let it just keep you down. Like, you know what I mean? And so, I want to feel, I like feeling good. That's all I know. I like to feel good. And anyways, there was some other things. And one of the things when I was doing something, and all of a sudden they told me, and it started making me cry. And it was this certain music that they kept bringing me. And I don't know, it was even in the car. And I was like, oh, this is weird. It's like, you're just bringing me all this women empowerment kind of like, I don't know. And so then I couldn't, I was like, oh, I want to watch something or do something. And so I turned on the TV, which I made a cute little, I never made one before. And it was a lot of attempts and it was a lot of work. So they're not easy to make, to me. A dream catcher. So I did make something this morning, and I made her a dream catcher to put over her bed in there. But anyway, so this certain type of music was coming on, and then I was out here doing something, and then this, so I decided to put on music, and this song came on. And when it was going there at first, I was like singing along, and this is how it always goes. Like, you've got to just, like, the more you pay attention to your connection. So I'm singing along, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I see. And then, I just started crying. It was like this total epiphany, like when all of a sudden you realize what they're saying to you. And it just feels like, it feels so good. Like, you just, it's like this big thing you just overcame. And when you really start figuring out your translation with your guides and what they're showing you and what they're telling you, I swear to God, it makes life so much easier. Because even when things are hard or you feel down about something, they'll tell you. If you don't get all caught up in your drama and you sit back and you reflect, like, why would this happen? What am I supposed to do? And that they had even brought that into my mind about crossing someone's path, and just that giving them a smile can make all the difference. And then for that to happen, so there is so much more to this life, and there's so much more to our synchronicities and how we interact and stuff. And then I know there's so much more with the transmission of our telepathy and our thoughts towards each other. I know there's so much more that they hide from us about science that could benefit us, just like with the med beds and stuff. Like, everything they do is to just make things worse and harder on us and stuff, and make us dependent on them. Anyways, I better go. So anyways, just think about those things. I'll talk to you later. Bye.